Hey kid.
Jeon, Jungkook and the Unreleased Symphony, a love letter left in the night sky. In a world glittering with spotlights and applause, where the stage is an altar and voices are the currency of eternity, no one would have thought that Jeon Jungkook, a world idol, had a song that was never sung. Not because he couldn't, but because the song wasn't for the world. That night there was no musical accompaniment, no grand stage. Just a silent video, 5 minutes that felt like an eternity, quietly uploaded to Weverse. No caption, no announcement. Just silence, which turned out to be louder than 1,000 concerts. The screen showed a young man in a small room. Warm lights reflected the fatigue on his face. A black hoodie. Puffy eyes. A hoarse voice. There were no stars there. Just Jeon Jungkook, an ordinary human being, opening a page that had long been locked tightly by fame. "I want to be honest," he said softly. "It's time for me to speak." And the world fell silent. Not an album announcement. Not a comeback teaser. But about a love that is not mentioned but feels alive in every breath. I love her. For a long time. But I'm scared. Because this love shouldn't hurt anyone. It shouldn't burden anyone. Especially her, who makes me feel alive even when I feel dead inside. The sentence is not like a confession. It is like an open window on a stuffy night. And the wind comes in bringing questions. Who is she? "She is nothing to the world," Jungkook whispers. "But she is everything to me. She reads my lyrics before I read them myself. Hears my voice before I speak. Catches my tears before they fall. And the world knows that person is gone. It's been a few years," he says quietly, "but she still lives in my music. In every lyric. In every whisper of the night." ARMY cries. Not because they lost the same person, but because they know what it's like to love something that can't be returned. After that night, Jungkook's songs changed color. Still With You is no longer a lullaby, but a song to a spirit that never really left. My You is a letter that never arrived. Standing next to you sounds like a prayer that can no longer be answered except in dreams. She once said, "If you can't love me in the real world, love me in your songs," Jungkook says. And I do. Every day. Without you knowing. Fans have begun digging for clues. Some believe she's a childhood friend named Sunshine, mentioned once in an old interview, then lost forever. Others are convinced she's a first love who left in an accident. And some believe she's not one person but a soul. A soul that now lives in every one of Jungkook's songs. Maybe the world will never know who she is. And maybe that's what makes her eternal. Because love that's not named, not held, not owned, is the most eternal love. I didn't get to say it, Jungkook says in the video. But if you hear it, I love you. And I will always love you. The screen went dark. The world fell silent. But the hearts of those watching were still trembling. After that night, Jungkook's music returned to the top. Not because of strategy, but because people wanted to hear the love that was left behind. Love that was buried with someone unknown to the world, but lived in every note. HYBE did not comment. The other BTS members have not spoken. But word has it, Jeon called that same night. Suga came in secret. And Jimin cried alone while watching the video in his room. No one knows the rest of the story. But one thing is now a legacy. Jungkook has written the most honest love, not in an album but in the night sky. And we are all witnesses to a love that was never conveyed, but finally heard. The video was not just a confession. It was an invitation to mourn. To love. To understand that their idol was not only the owner of a golden voice, but also the keeper of the most fragile secret. A love that never ends. Since that night, his concerts have changed. Quieter. Deeper. More spiritual. There were parts of his performance that could no longer be described in words. At one concert, the lights went out for 10 seconds before the encore. In the darkness, only one voice could be heard, Jungkook's soft murmur, almost like a prayer. Not everyone heard it. But a small percentage caught a fragment of a sentence. "If you can still hear me, I haven't stopped writing for you." There were no cheers. No screams. Just sobs muffled by the music. Because true love doesn't need a happy ending. It just needs the courage to keep living, even in the absence of it. Fans have changed. They created a space called Sky Letters, where they write messages for the departed. Blue paper folded into birds, released into the sky in an event titled For love that still sings, even though it's silent. Jungkook appeared silently. No makeup. No spotlight. Sitting in the corner, watching the paper birds fly. His hand holding a white envelope that was never opened in front of anyone. In the documentary video, a crew whispered to the cameraman. The envelope was always in his bag. For years. He never threw it away. And the public began to understand, what's important is not who is in the song, but how love is lived. It is not exhibited. Not asked to be remembered. It is only written, sung and breathed into memories that not everyone can understand. Songs for Jungkook are not just works of art. It is a gentle tomb, a place where memories are buried so that they are not lost in time. And for those of us who hear them, the songs are a reminder that loss is not the end. That love can endure, even when its form is gone. In the closing narration of the special documentary, a line that has now become digital graffiti on the hearts of thousands of armies is etched. In a world full of voices, Jungkook chose silence. And in his silence we found the most honest song ever written. Not about anyone, but about how love can live on. Even after it's gone. Every time Still With You plays we know. It's not just a song. It's a letter. A final embrace. A love that was never had but never betrayed. And when the night is quiet, and Jungkook's voice drifts slowly, we close our eyes and say to ourselves, he's still singing. For someone who used to live in his chest. And now lives too in every song of ours. But the story doesn't end there. Because like the love he harbored, the story continues to roll, not as gossip, but as an echo of something unfinished. A few months after the video shook the souls of many, fans began to notice something different about Jungkook. Not a big change, but a subtlety in his demeanor. The way he lowered his head longer when singing the softest parts. The way he stared at the stadium ceiling as if searching for a face that had long since disappeared. And most notably, a new song that was never announced, suddenly appeared at his solo concert in Tokyo. Its title, The Door I Never Closed. The song was never released on streaming platforms. There was no studio version. But amateur videos from the audience became digital treasures. In the song, Jungkook sang not with technique, but with an unhealed wound. I still leave a light. For you who didn't come home. I keep the sound of your footsteps. In the corridor of dreams that I didn't close. Many said it wasn't just a song, but a recording of the soul. And in every line there was an apology, not because he loved, but because he hid it for too long. HYBE has finally spoken. But not through a press conference. Instead, it's in the form of an interactive art exhibition called Echoes of You, which opened in Seoul and then toured New York, London, and Kyoto. Inside, visitors not only see Jungkook memorabilia but also hear snippets of sound that can only be heard through personal headphones. A recording of his heartbeat, the sound of his breathing as he composes lyrics, the murmurs that never made it into a recording studio. At the end of the room there's a quiet space. In its center, a bench, a white screen, and a single projection of a sentence. Have you ever loved so deeply that you couldn't even say its name? Many sit. Many cry. Many can't leave until a staff member gently calls them. Because the space isn't just an art installation. It's a wall that Jungkook has been building, and for the first time he's letting us touch it. In a rare interview with a Japanese magazine, Jungkook finally touches on the topic again. Without naming names. Without giving too much away. But enough to let light into the labyrinth of his soul. There are people who never come back but never leave. Music is the only way to keep him alive. Without hurting me. Without making it heavy. The interview ended with a final question. If you could talk to him one more time, what would you say? Jungkook's answer was short. But it contained thousands of hugs that never arrived. I still have a seat left at my concert. That empty seat for you. The empty seat. That's the newest symbol in Jungkook's concerts. Amidst the hysterical army crowd, there's always one seat in the front row, surrounded by white rope, decorated with paper flowers. No one sits there. But everyone knows it's not an empty seat. It's a seat filled with love. Now, every time he sings Still With You, the audience holds up a small heart-shaped card. Inside it is written a sentence that has become a collective mantra. You may not be present in our world, but you live on in his songs. And every time the concert ends, Jungkook doesn't go backstage right away. He approaches the empty chair. He bends down. He closes his eyes. And he smiles a little, like someone who can finally say, "See, I sang it all. Just like you asked." Time passes. Music changes. Generations come and go. But the story never dies. Because as long as the song is still playing, as long as the heart can still feel the loss, then the love will continue to sing, slowly, deeply, but surely. Jungkook may never have said that person's name, but the world calls it by another name. The song that never ends.